Okay, this is the start of the route. To the right is Bristol, to the left is the centre of Bath. But we're going to cross over the River Avon and get to the south side where we'll pick up the Two Tunnels Greenway. I should really dismount to go over here, but I sometimes ride and I take it nice and slowly. Let's just stop. There's the River Avon downstream towards Bristol, and there's the River Avon upstream towards Bath. And there's Lidl supermarket. Don't know if you can see it on the left here. And this is a shared use path, so it's okay to ride on it. Can go on the road, of course, but up here is the Lower Bristol Road, the main heavy goods ring road around Bath from east to west, and it's best avoided on a bike. So I'm going to use this crossing, and again the pavement on the other side is designated as shared use of pedestrians and cyclists. Now this is December the 27th, quite a quiet day. I think on an ordinary working day this road would be absolutely jammed solid. It's pretty jammed now. And now we begin to climb up towards Linear Park, which is the old Somerset and Dorset railway line, turned into a park, and that will take us to the Two Tunnels. Now we're just coming to the actual Two Tunnels Greenway. Now you can see those blue signs, I don't know if you can. To the left, about a quarter of a mile away, is the official entrance to the Greenway. To the right here is Linear Park. We climb first of all up onto this bridge over the Great Western Railway, the London to Bristol Railway. However, you can't actually see the railway because they've got rather high sides, probably for a good reason, to avoid people either throwing things onto the trains or throwing themselves. I have to excuse my heavy breathing. I'm not an athlete, so these climbs do get me hyperventilating a bit. Now we're now in Linear Park, which has been a park for many, many years, long before the two tunnels were reopened. And this is running through Oldfield Park, one of the southern suburbs of Bath. And it's very well used, this path. Lots of people getting from A to B on it, including to and from a couple of schools. So again, it's quiet today because it's Christmas week, but do take care. Watch out for toddlers and that sort of thing. First of the two fairly modern bridges. I think these may have been installed actually for the two tunnel cycle route because they look very new. Another little kick up here. You'll have to excuse any sniffles too. I say it's the last week of December, and it's a lot of people have got sniffles and colds. Now, the sort of slip road coming down on the left, for those who know Bath, just up that slip road is the bottom of Coronation Avenue, just where you turn into it, and it's still flat before it starts to rise up. So that's another way to get on here. Now, at various places along the linear park and the rest of the route, there are information boards, such as the one coming up just here on the left. This one's about the old co-op sidings that were here. It's quite fascinating. Bath was a fairly heavily industrial city for much of the 20th century. And this railway, which joined Bath to the south coast, serviced that, bringing in raw materials and fuel, coal, and taking finished product away. We now begin the long, but on the whole fairly gentle, climb up to the first of the two tunnels, the Devonshire. rescue. Right, we're almost at the first tunnel now. Just at the top of the little incline beyond the bridge. I'll be stopping to switch on my lights. Right, and here we are. Just for reference, we're near the bottom of Bloomfield Avenue here, near Bear Flat. We're going into the first of the two tunnels, the Devonshire Tunnel. It's only 400 metres. You don't have to have lights on in here, but I think it's a very good thing if you do. Thank you. Soon see the end of this tunnel, back out into daylight. The temperature remains pretty much the same all year round. So when it's bitterly cold outside, it actually feels warm coming into the tunnels. And when it's hot outside in summer, it feels like going into a refrigerator. But today, it doesn't feel much different, so I think it's probably about the same, which I guess is somewhere around 5 or 6 degrees, perhaps a bit higher. Now we're on a short climb up to the second and much longer tunnel, the Coombe Down Tunnel. That's 1,700 metres. And it slopes gently down on the way out of Bath, and of course gently up on the way back, but not too bad. This is one of those weird bits of road that look steeper than they are, apart from this short bit here, and we're up. It's really not too hard to pedal up here. Oh, not many cyclists around this morning. On an ordinary day you'd see a lot more than this, including the proper racing cyclists who zoom up here at about 20 miles an hour. I'm doing 7.7, so that's not bad by my standards. I'm in mid-second gear, which means this really isn't all that much of a gradient. As a guide, I normally come back up through the Coombe Down tunnel in mid-third, which really does mean it's little more than a flat. Once we're beyond the bridge, again, although it still looks like a gradient, it isn't much. I imagine this sniffling is going to get a little bit annoying, so apologies in advance.
Your one is taking really slow.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we are, the Coombe Down tunnel. Take us about 5 minutes to get through there, a bit longer perhaps. Oh no, a group ahead of us, no lights. They are pedestrians. Thank you. You probably can't see them, but there are little markers painted on the surface every 100 metres. And soon you may hear the eerie music that plays all the time in the middle of the tunnel. You get a lot of runners in this tunnel. And from what I can feel, the draft is blowing up against me here, which is how I like it, because it's not too hard to overcome it and it gives me a little bit of help on the way back up. Now we've got another group here. Cheers. Oops. Yeah. Thank you. I've no idea what it's going to look like on the video, but once your eyes are adjusted, it's not too bad in here. It's rather cosy, yellowy light. When I first saw it, it reminded me of a country pub, you know, where they strip the walls back. Oh, here are one of those racing cyclists I mentioned earlier. And some Christmas illuminations up ahead. Those aren't normal. Very nice. Somebody's left a small Christmas tree. Very nice. Got some more walkers ahead. 600 metres to go, so we're 1100 metres in. .500, bike overtaking me. Well, that wasn't a racing bike, not by the sound of those tyres. Nor is that one. Up ahead you can just see the first glimmer of daylight now. 300 metres to go, I think, or it might be 2. I couldn't read the sign. No, so we've come up to 100 metres now. There's always water here, just this little bit, right through the summer. And we come out just above Tucking Mill. There's an eco-friendly audio commentary on the left. You wind it up just where those two people are, give it some energy, and that will play you a recording. Tells you all about William Smith, the father of English geology, past whose house or houses we will be going in a few minutes. This is what you have to watch out for. Young children on their own bikes.
Sorry.
That's okay. Generally speaking though, it's pretty nicely mannered on here. Now we can't see again, but down below us, we're on a viaduct now. And down below us is a rather lovely looking Tucking Mill Pond. But it's all sealed off. It's actually a disabled anglers facility. It's all rather heavily fenced, but nevertheless, it's a good thing to have. I am getting a few strange looks for talking to myself while cycling, but I'm getting used to it, and perhaps I'm just getting strange looks, who knows. Now, we are coming up to within about half a mile now of Midford, which is on the Two Tunnels Greenway, and the route will go beyond there on a hard-pressed, compacted track, and then from there with road sections onto Paulton and eventually Frome. But we're not going to do that. We're going to come off just before Midford and head down the public road towards Tucking Mill, and then Monkton Coombe, and finally Dundas. And you can't see it on the left there, but you can see the road down below where we are. Right, ahead we'll see a short tunnel, which really is a tunnel, not a bridge. There's actually a field on top of it and a road, but we will turn left and head down the hill to Tucking Mill.
Right, that's on, let's go.
Morning. Here we are, now we're on the road now. Words of caution about this road. As you can see, it's single track once we get beyond this little bit, the surface deteriorates quite rapidly. There's lots of broken surface. In the middle, because it's single track, it's covered in gravel and mud because cars don't change lane on this, so they can't sweep it clean. There aren't many runoff places. This is one of them. And again, in summer, there is quite a lot of traffic on it and bends. So I would question whether this is suitable for children, small children on their own bikes, even with their parents supervising. Absolutely unsuitable. Small children without their parents supervising. So take great care here, and you do get things like delivery vans belting along, and residents, it must be said, belting along quite quickly here. It's all right where you can see a bit ahead, but they say there are bends. Now on the right, which we probably can't see in the camera, is a rather beautiful water meadow next to not the River Avon, but I think this is called the Midford Brook, or it might be the Wellow Brook. And right to the right, I'm just going to stop here and point the camera this way. Probably can't see all that much, but the level bit with trees growing out of it is the filled-in bed of the Somerset coal canal, which begins at Dundas, where we're going. So let's just carry on. And we're just going to be coming around the corner here, or around the bend, to Tucking Mill. And ahead of us we see the really rather beautiful house, the mill keeper's cottage, and there's a tablet set into the wall that says, "Here lived William Smith, father of English geology." But in fact, a friend of mine who knows about these things is quite adamant that William Smith didn't live there, but in fact lived just here on the left in this house. He had the rather beautiful one made for the mill keeper and lived just here instead. Now we are now approaching the first of the two very steep, or to me very steep, but mercifully short climbs between here and Monkton Coombe. It's a shame because the old coal canal runs through the valley, really quite flat all the way to Dundas. But that's long been closed off. People have actually built their houses over it apparently. So we have to follow the lie of the land more on this road. I'll shut up for a moment now while I puff my way up this short incline. Oh, that's better. This is the 15th week in a row that I've done this ride, and I must say that climb is noticeably easier. Oh. But I'm going to conserve all the energy I can, because the second and slightly steeper climb awaits us about a quarter of a mile long. Oh, thank you. Oops, here we go. Not so easy when it's a lorry. It's happened to me once. And on the right hand side, down there, is quite a steep drop into the valley, so you don't want to go off there. You'll probably get caught by the trees and brambles, but they are trees and brambles. Hello. Oh. There we go. Someone with a bit more energy than I have, but there you go. Now we'll be on that second climb soon. And that to me is still a bit of a leg hurter. When I'm just over halfway up, I'm really wondering, ooh, should I be pushing my shin bones quite this hard? In my lowest gear now. Straight ahead over that wall is Monkton Coombe churchyard, burial yard, and in there is the grave of Harry Patch, the last survivor of World War I. I've never seen it, but it is in there. Here we go, this is the leg bender. And it still feels hard, this bit of the climb, even after 15 attempts. Now be careful here, because there's again quite a lot of traffic on this road, but we're up, and after just a little bit more of a climb, we'll be rolling down into Monkton Coombe. Ooh. Oh, careful on these two blind bends, especially the second one. Very pretty village. This is the bend to be careful on. Quite a lot of traffic through here. It's a bus route too. Monkton pub there, Wheelwright's Arms. Very pretty village, Monkton Coombe, dominated by its school, which we are just riding alongside now. And we will be going down through the school grounds. Ooh. Can hear something coming behind me, but I'm going to be turning right soon to walk down through the school grounds. First time I did this ride, I missed the sign, went straight on, but that wasn't the right way. It's actually a shorter way to Dundas, but this is a bit more picturesque. Got to cross the main Warminster Road that way if you go straight ahead, but we are going down here. Well, this time when it says cyclist dismount, it really means it, because it's far too steep to ride down. Oh, so we are actually in Monkton Coombe School now. Classrooms to the right, sports centre to the left. Nobody here, of course, or no pupils here because students, because it's Christmas week. Now the first bit of this walking path isn't too bad. When we get to here, it suddenly drops down very steeply, and the surface is gravel set in tarmac, and it's quite slippery even when it's dry. In fact, if anything, it seems to be more slippery when it's dry. But it's not long. It's a hell of a push back up again though, so be ready for that. Here we are. Oh. Okay, so we're going to go down through the car park now and then turn left onto the what is a private road, school road, past their playing fields, and that will take us straight to Dundas. Here we go. Only about 2/3 of a mile if that to go now. This road, private road, it's like most private roads, it isn't very well maintained, and so there are lots and lots of potholes and a surprising amount of traffic in the summer or in term time. But I find I have to watch the surface all the time, and this will probably be a very shaky bit of video too. I can see the camera wobbling around on its mount. And we're back by the route of the old coal canal now. Right, it's up on that embankment. Yes, the coal canal used to cross over just up ahead and run up on the embankment there, and then all the way across to Tucking Mill, and from there to Wellow, until it crossed over here. It was running along the left hand side. You may be able to see an embankment on the left hand side, and that's where the canal ran. But to our right, again possibly off camera, is a rather beautiful sports field. Rugby in winter, cricket in summer. Monkton Coombe School. And running ahead of us, if you can make it out at all, over the viaduct and over a bridge over this road, is the Warminster Road from Bath to Warminster and Frome. Now we crossed the River Avon at the beginning of this ride, and if we'd gone upstream for about 5-6 miles, a bit longer, we would have ended up pretty much here. We'll see, we'll get a brief glimpse of the Avon just on our way into the Dundas Basin. Here we are, the bridge ahead of us is taking the Warminster Road, the A37, I'm not sure actually which road it is, over here. This road actually joins the road that goes up to Limpley Stoke and Bradford and Avon, but we're going to turn left just ahead here into the marina. There is a marina up on the left, which is at what is now the end of the coal canal, or navigable end, only a quarter of a mile long, and a very nice cafe, the Angelfish Cafe, with toilets and a little visitor centre with information about the coal canal, but we're going to go straight through here and go straight to Dundas. Very popular here. So straight through the car park. Be careful, this gate is sometimes closed or semi-closed, so you can't always guarantee to be able to ride straight through it. Thank you. Now, coming up ahead, just before we go up that slight incline, we will see Dundas aqueduct that takes the Kennet and Avon canal over the river. To our right is the railway line between Bath and Portsmouth, I believe. Back down into bottom gear for this little short kick up. And if you want to go to the cafe, go along that lane just on our left here, which is coming out. And we're almost here. Whoops. And here we are, Dundas Basin on the Kennet and Avon canal. Just there by that swing bridge is the entrance to the coal canal. And then over here is the Dundas aqueduct. And we're now going over the river and over the railway. But that's enough for me. I'm going to find somewhere to sit and have a cup of tea.